Hello, everyone, and welcome to The Essence of You. I am your host, Steph Lokelani, and I am here with my good friend, Angela, who is a non-famous, interesting person known for valuing clarity, a strong worldview. She has a strong worldview and a reputation for being honest and maybe too sharp for some. She is espresso in a sea of milk. And I'm going to ask you what you mean by that in just a second.
Okay.
Angela and I met years ago through the belly dancing community.
Yeah.
We were we were both on different troupes, but we would run into each other at some of the festivals that we would do. And that's how we connected. And I think it's our energy that kind of got that connection, because I didn't connect with everybody in the belly dance community.
Yeah, I remember you had put on and actually recorded early video. You had recorded a whole thing, and I was dancing with another Stephanie.
Yep.
And one of 12. And so we were so happy to be able to join forces.
Yeah.
And she's now with that troupe.
Oh, is she?
Yeah. So core. Oh, yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, they're like this now. That's beautiful.
That is beautiful. Do you still dance?
I haven't in 10 years. However, she and I are going to attempt something.
I want to come watch.
So we'll see what happens.
Oh, that would be
It's been 10 years, and she's been doing tribal fusion, which was very different, coming from, the Sidonia world. So there's definitely a little more better posture and whatnot that I will have to come up to speed to.
You'll get there. Yeah. There are definitely moves that I do in my own home.
Of course.
Yes.
Grocery store.
Yeah. Yes.
Shimmy through the meat department.
Oh my goodness. I used to, years and years ago, while I was in belly dancing, I used to work at the zoo. And there would be times where I would make shave ice or something. And I'd stand there and just be like, boom, boom, hip, hip. And practice the figure eights and everything.
It's lovely.
Yeah. It never helped sell this shave ice, but hey, I was working.
I bet it did.
But yeah, that's how we met. And it was so lovely. And yeah, I remember doing some of the festivals. I don't remember what half of them were called, but I remember at Julia Davis Park. Actually, that's the only place I remember.
Right? Yeah. Goddess Fest was always so nice.
Yes.
It's now defunct.
I heard that.
I mean, Crone's Cupboard is still, alive and kicking and serving the right audience. But the post-COVID world has its fingerprint on so many things.
Oh, it does.
It impacted the cost of the park, and people don't realize how many volunteers it takes to pull off those kinds of events.
Oh, yeah.
And so they brought it to another location, which was, lovely, but it kind of lost that specialness, having the rose garden behind us and all the goddessy things driving around. It was just hard when you lose your core drivers, and then add a pandemic on top of that. It's just really hard to pick it back up.
It is. Yeah, I remember because they moved to the fairgrounds, and I did go one time.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is not the same.
No.
Everybody tried.
They did. They put such a great effort forth. No fault to the organizers at all, but it is tough,
Yeah.
Right? It's like Van Halen losing their lead singer.
Yeah.
You can get Hagar, but it's the different thing.
It is so different. I love that you threw that in. And that's one thing that I always appreciated about you. You are a big fan of music, from what I know of you. And I love how you toss that stuff out there. I love music too, but I am not knowledgeable enough to say, with this one band at this one time. And no.
Weirdness.
I like it. So we'll start with... tell me about your journey that brought you to this moment today.
This moment today. I've always been very inspired by the creative things that you do.
Thank you.
From the belly dance time to watching everything. I think I got a chance to see you get connected with a friend's daughter while they were in high school, doing some mentoring with that sort of thing, watched you through your corporate journey. And I remember you going somewhere with bikes. And
Cambodia.
that really was just like, like you read your whole, I don't know, I'm just a weird fan in this case. I read your journey. I got a little verklempt as I read the different things and so forth. So when you recently, kicked things off, hosting one of my favorite people, Reham, that's really, I, of course, want to support her. She's just really wonderful. Oh, if you had a chance to see her latest art piece that's going to Washington, oh my God, so fantastic. Yeah, I posted a little video on it.
Okay, I'll have to find that.
So you'll have to take a look. Tagged Reham, so just look for Reham, and you can find it. But she's such a lovely person. So having the chance to see her and some of the other really interesting people you had, and then you kind of allowed less interesting people. And I think I'm different. But I was so glad that you were open to, some normie like me, wanting to share some unique things maybe. But watching Reham and having met Reham and having a personal story of my own that is kind of the other side of the coin from Reham's experience, really kind of made me want to do this.
Well, I'm glad you are doing this because I've always wanted to get to know you better. I know that we've exchanged texts like, let's grab coffee, and then it never happens because we both have lives.
Life.
Yes. So then tell me about that other side of the coin. What makes you different?
There's a lot of talk right now about different races, individuals of different genders. I find it really unfortunate the way our leaders have chosen to address these kinds of things, because I don't think it is very reflective of the public. And I think that, and maybe it's the older public that kind of says, hey, I thought you were supposed to represent the people. And that just seems to be falling away more and more. And so many more lines and divisions, and people judge you the moment they see you.
They do.
And so this is something that resonated with me because I'm a straight white girl. I look like I should be everyone else. I don't have an accent. I should be a complete American girl. Told 100 times since I was a child, oh, you can grow up one day and be president. But, then you see the truth of how that works and whatnot. However, what makes me different in this regard, while everything else should be the same, should fit the same, Gap jeans kind of box.
Old Navy.
Yeah.
Right?
Ooh, well, this will traverse us well. Certainly won't fit my thick German thighs.
There we go. Okay.
Which takes us to German. Old Navy. God, they were always so skinny.
Yeah.
Oh, and I was never a fan of the skinny jean. So I have discovered over the course of my life, both of my parents were German. They immigrated from Germany in 1959. Ooh. My mother was 19, pregnant, getting on a plane, but, getting on the boat somewhere. When you go to Hanover, Germany, you can see there's a list at that time. So post-war Germany, I'll back up just a little bit more because it does get a little more interesting if I back up. Because we are all truly a result of our parents and of our parents' experiences and of their parents' experiences. Individuality is wonderful. But whether we liked or didn't like our family, we have all developed because of a response to our environment. Like it or not, rich, poor, entertained, unentertained, that's who we become. And we have no choice, right? No one chooses really to be born, and no one chooses to be born in their situation. Now, I'm pretty fortunate let me not say that my upbringing has been a problem. But my parents were very, very German. They both grew up post-war Germany. My father lost his father in the war when he was very young, like 7 years old.
Wow.
His father was drafted. I was going to say enlisted. Was drafted into the German war. Again, something, as much as we've made judgments on people, nothing they were ever got to choose to do. So my father, his father, ultimately was a prisoner of war, and they never saw him again. I have a photo album from his times in a prison camp.
Oh, wow.
I'm actually looking for someone who might know a little bit about that stuff because I find it very interesting.
Yeah.
Led my father to become a certain type of person. He had a very hard mother, but that mother was trying to raise 3 kids, post-war Germany. They all ended up going off to some sort of camp. The older daughters went off to a camp to keep them safe.
Oh.
My father was put into something that was similar to a work camp. And this is in his formative years. My aunts, they were at least teenagers at the time, so they could remember what it was like beforehand.
Okay.
But not my father.
Okay.
So that's how his life started. It's a whole story of its own, which would take really too long. But this is what developed my father. My mother was born 5 years later. The war was just starting to end. But she and her family were bombed out multiple times.
Oh, gosh.
She has no pictures of herself prior to, I think, maybe 9 years old. There's one little girl picture, super cute.
Oh.
Gosh, if you were ever doing this at a time when my mom was in town, I'd be like, you so need to talk to her.
Oh, I want to talk to your mom. I feel like I know her just from your posts on social media.
My mom is awesome. However, back to how these things impacted me. So my parents had kind of a whirlwind transition into America. My father always wanted to go to America. At that time of the war, there was no housing, there were no jobs, so they all immigrated somewhere. In this case, my parents immigrated to Canada.
Okay.
My mom's brothers had already immigrated. Now, the sadness of this means is that my mom, as their last child, left her parents in Germany. And my son just moved to Ohio, who I can drive to if I had to, but that's already too far.
Yeah.
Imagine putting an ocean in there. So my parents, they get married. My mom happens to already be pregnant. They move to Canada, don't have the greatest relationship with their family. So they end up living in a one-room house, borrowing the refrigerator from the lady downstairs. There are so many stories I could tell you about my parents if you ever want to do stories about your parents.
Yeah. Okay.
But
I like it.
Ultimately, I have a sister who's 9 years older than me. My parents had lost a child between my sister and myself.
Okay. Uh-huh.
And so that, of course, colored things as well. You know, my sister was born to immigrant parents who didn't know the language very well, but were learning and had to scrape by for every penny. And she lost a sibling. I, of course, and from my sister's perspective, am born when everything's better. My father they immigrated from Canada now down to California, land of the beautiful, right? They're living in a house across the street from my mom's sister.
Oh.
And they have me. Mom forgot to take the pill on her journey down from Seattle. So she says I was conceived in Seattle based on a mistake. Sorry, Mom. It's all right. Needless to say, now here I am. My parents have a little money, a little bit of fortune. So me and my sister, of course, have grandly different parents.
Yes.
However, what we both have is completely German parents. Even having gone through my sister ahead of me and me, my parents do not understand certain American lifestyles. They don't. Let's start with the school system.
Okay.
So one of the things about the American school system is that you go to school, but then you get involved in extracurricular things.
Yes.
That promote you and help you form what you want to do in college, what you're going to do in life. These things start very early. This my parents didn't understand. So extracurricular, I wanted to be on the debate team.
Oh, fun.
I'm an arguer. I'm German, for Christ's sake. It's in my genetics to argue. And so I wanted to hone that. But because I went to a school that was a little further away, that meant my parents needed to drive. Now, my mom didn't work, but yet I was not permitted to be involved in extracurricular activities. My parents didn't understand the social aspect of American high schools. So unfortunately, as difficult it is to say out loud, my father was a great man in so many ways, but he didn't understand things. So when we wanted to go to dances, he would call his daughter whores.
Oh, no. Oh, because you wanted to go to the school dance.
Because one time my father picked me up from a junior high dance. Now, he'd done this to my sister 9 years before, but I didn't know this, right? So for me, he picked me up one day and saw two kids making out in the corner because that happens, right? And we argued about it. And I said, but Dad, you haven't seen the hunt, and school dances were better attended back in the 80s. You're not seeing the 150 kids in the building who aren't
out making out with each other.
But there was he was very German. He lost his father. You know, my mom was very German. She was very traditional role, very quiet, because my dad was really boisterous. So our values, and I know this is a horrible part, but things that my parents did that were great, we always sat down and had dinner.
Good.
Right? We celebrated birthdays and things like this. My parents appreciated fine food and going out. Earlier, we were chit-chatting about Tim Curry.
Yes.
I got a chance to see Tim Curry in Me and My Gal.
Oh.
So I got to see him, my sister being older, I got to see him in 78 with Rocky Horror. Something way too young. I was dancing to Sweet Transvestite before I knew what it meant.
Oh,
Maybe that's why I have such an open mind to it all.
Oh, I love this.
And then I saw him as Me and My Gal when I was 16. And then I have seen him in so many incarnations, except all the voice stuff we talked about, right? So many things I have to look up now. But so I had all this finer stuff, but my parents were very stern. They didn't understand the socialness. And so this in turn built me who I am. So I am stern and you do things. And I have this same reflex that my father had and that a lot of old world German people do. I have a cousin who's about 3 months different in age. He and I think so much alike.
Oh.
You know, and some of these German culture things, like when a German is done talking with you, they'll just be like, okay, bye. This isn't serving me anymore. And they don't mean to be rude, but they're done. You know, Germans also stare at you. They will look. They're trying to figure out what they're looking at, but they do not care. They'll keep staring at you. So these little idiosyncrasies, which were always in my family, very much imprinted upon me.
Yes.
People don't like that. But I was always this loud, boisterous girl who would lock her double-jointed knees backwards and dig in like a typical German, because this was my boisterous, digging in father who always was very heavy sword when you think of tarot cards and the sword, right? Very discerning without thinking, you know, without thinking that you've just called your daughter a really horrible name when they were young and that's going to stick with them. And the German formality of, you know, you do what your parents say and, you know. But as I've gotten older, these ways really have caused me a great deal of problems. When I get excited about things, my voice gets really loud. It carries from here to China, and people immediately interpret volume as anger.
They do. When I get excited, my Hawaiian accent comes out.
Does it?
Yeah. Excited or mad.
Oh, that sounds fun.
It is. If you're around me long enough and either of those instances happen, you'll be like, oh, there's the Hawaiian. Oh boy, here we go.
Right? Yes. And so, I mean, you've lived in Idaho now for how long?
21 years.
Right? So how long did you live in Hawaii?
I was in Hawaii for 9 years and then the Seattle area for 9 and a couple of years in Colorado and California.
So you probably feel the non-nativeness in Idaho, even though you've lived here for 20 years.
Oh, yeah. And I'm grateful that I've been here that long, just so I can say when people start judging me that I'm not from Idaho, yes, but I've been here for 21 years.
Right?
I watched them fill that 8th Street hole. Okay?
Right? 28 myself.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
All married.
Oh, wow.
Oh, I'd hate to be single in this town.
I'm single in this town.
Oh, do you find it difficult?
I don't date.
It's
in
difficult.
A story. Mm-hmm.
But is that just the age thing or is it the location? Because, maybe I'm taking this perspective because I'm old. But, I go to a concert that I like and sorry, it's just a sword fest.
Yeah.
And I look around and I'm like, so this is what I'm going to have to choose from if I really get fed up with A, B, or C, whatever it might be. And I'm like, nope, A, B, and C are just fine. Mm-hmm. I'll just take a walk more often.
Yeah. No, I know
that sounds horrible. But it's another
true.
thing, me and Reham, which I totally got off topic with, by the way.
Yes.
Edit nightmare.
It's okay.
No, but anyway, so the German thing has made it a thing. And Reham and I have talked about it because she is half Kuwaiti,
right,
half American, and stuck here in Idaho.
Yep.
Landed here, right? Whatever. Yep. But here we are. And we both talk about this internationalness that we have that other people around us find rude. They don't see it. She and I can talk politics and we'll be like, no, it's kind of the American bird that's the problem. It's not this wing or that wing. It's kind of you've cooked your turkey.
Oh, yeah.
But without diving into that hole, she and I, we talk and, Reham's very opinionated and I love it because I'm like, yeah, I already think this. I already think that too. Yeah. Same. And we've decided that it's our internationalness that has given us this different viewpoint and that it pisses people off.
I think it does because I don't think it was on a podcast, but possibly. I talk to a lot of people because of what I do.
I bet.
But if you don't let's say that you're not from another country and you live here in the US, if you don't travel to other countries, you will never know that there are other cultures and other people out there that are not like you. And at the same time, they are like you.
Yes.
And you need to experience that because that is who we are. We are people. And we've stopped being kind because we're here in our own little boxes.
And we keep judging instead of appreciating the differenceness of the boxes. Sometimes you need a small one. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you need a bigger one. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you need a wardrobe with a pole in there.
Yes.
Well, we don't always need the pole.
But it's fun.
Right?
So tell me then, because I know that you have a son and you did mention him. He's now in Ohio for college. How would you say did you shift from the way that you were raised to how you raised your son? Is there a difference? Or did you bring all of that into you as a mother?
Right. Well, Chris is there for life. He didn't go to college. He is just doing editing and video creation. Like I tried to hook you two up, but he's very much in the EDM world. So, he's like, no.
Yeah,
so that's kind of what happened there. But
that's okay.
But anyways, so this is actually a good question because my husband is that American who never left the country.
Oh.
Right. Oh. And I am the German. And I tell all the teenagers that I come across and they're dating and all their drama and whatnot. And I'm like, find out what political persuasion your boyfriend is before you commit for the rest of your life. Ask them what they think about children before you choose or don't to reproduce.
Yes.
Right? I mean, I just try and slip this in. I'm hoping that little water torture thing gets into some of these people, boy or girl, right? Mm-hmm. Whatever direction they're going. I'm like, you need to have these conversations, right? If all you're talking about is high school stuff and how you both hate the same English teacher, that's not what you base a marriage on.
No.
However, I met my husband. We got married. We moved here to Idaho. Mm-hmm. I left everything and moved here to Idaho. So I had nothing.
Is he from Idaho? Is that why you came here?
No, he's from Michigan.
Oh.
So he has a checkered past. Mm-hmm. Thankfully, someone else housebroken before I met him. Right? So all that checkered stuff was kind of done with. It made for great stories.
I bet.
Interesting person if you want to see the other side of my coin.
Okay.
But when it came to raising a kid, we didn't have these conversations ahead of time. And so when we came to raising the kid, my German, we're going to have dinner every day. There was a time when we discussed this before we had kids, and it didn't go well. It ended with me getting into a taxi and coming home sooner. Right?
Oh.
It was all about the idea of having dinner at the same time, dinner together. It's the touch point.
Yeah.
It really is an easy, I don't know, I guess it's hard for some people, but,
My family,
I think it's
for the most part,
breaking bread together is so important, whether it's the family you grew up with or the family you choose.
I agree.
That togetherness is where you talk about stuff, where you get to bleh it out for a minute.
Yes.
And your family, again, chosen or unchosen, hopefully supports you. So me and my husband came from very different things. His upbringing in life was extremely different. He was raised by a single mother on welfare in Michigan. I was raised extremely German. The inside of my house was Germany. The outside was America. And mom and dad didn't understand the threshold between the two. He grew up. There were, I think, 4 kids ultimately with a single mom.
Oh, my.
In Michigan, which is a welfare state. It's soapbox of its own.
Oh, wow.
But mixing with me, who came from a very formal environment. And we had problems. And we've had problems that have stuck around because we didn't think of these things. But we've been very fortunate. My son arrived as a very good human. He somehow survived through all of our inappropriate disagreement, far too much witnessing of the disagreement. I was the loud German. My father was the why does it matter American.
Your husband.
My husband, right. We all marry our fathers. Freudian slip.
Maybe that's why I'm single.
Mine was bald and German. My husband is long hair and shorter than me. So,
I like his hair.
I do too. I wish he would take care of it better. You all look like old rockers when you don't care of your long hair. But so, it caused some problems. And at times had the marriage in question, which is why now I'm like, okay, we made a great human. He's out there. Sorry for all the things I did wrong. Hopefully you love me anyway. But we did it. We've survived. We're empty nest again because he had come back for 2 years.
Okay.
He went for 6 months to live with my cousin's son. I guess is that second cousin when it's your cousin's cousin? My cousin's son.
Your cousin's son, second cousins, yes, because I have those, and they're my second cousin.
Right? The Hawaiian culture always keeps in touch with their cousins.
Oh, yes,
so I thought maybe
do.
you'd know. But anyway, so he managed to live with in my cousin's rent-controlled place in Hamburg for 6 months with his son.
Whoa, okay.
The Schengen visa only goes for 3, so for 3 months, he was scared about being kicked out of the country, even though he had a return ticket. But and the only thing that rubbed off on him, I'm like, oh, good, you'll be in Germany for 6 months. Maybe you'll see where I'm coming from, right? Maybe you'll understand me a little bit more. No, he came back with, he's multicolored hair. He's a tall kid. And he's like, yeah, those Germans, they stare at you. But because he was used to it, he just stared back. He was like, I just looked back and to see who would break vision first. So at least he was able to have some fun with it. It didn't seem completely foreign. I don't know if it's made him understand me.
Maybe on some level. He just doesn't know how to articulate it yet.
Yeah, he's 25. Maybe when he's 32.
Yeah, he'll be
I don't think you return back to your parents. Like Saturn return.
Yes,
You don't come back
No,
until.
that's true. Yeah, it takes a little while.
Yeah. And then we left the country. My husband has now, congratulations, has left the country twice.
Good.
Once we went to Germany, which was lovely. Now we were going through Amsterdam and, I don't mean to fault my husband for this or speak badly of him because he really is a wonderful man. our differences aside, he really is a good human. But we were going to be transferring in Amsterdam. And at that time, there was a lot of stuff going on in Amsterdam. I think someone had set off an explosion somewhere.
Oh.
People don't realize how much Europe has had the threat of terrorism. Like your nightclub could explode.
Ooh.
I've been hearing about this since the 80s because I have family there,
Yeah.
right? And Americans are, not that they deserve it. It should stop completely. Let me say, I would like when, we've got all these Star Trek things.
Uh-huh.
You know how Star Trek figured out that war was pointless?
Yes.
That's the one thing from Star Trek I'd like us to do. I don't need the cell phone to get better. I want us to realize that war is unnecessary.
Absolutely.
Okay, sorry, sidetrack. But where was I?
You were talking about, you were going through Amsterdam.
Oh, yes. And my husband, we were getting ready to pack. And I'm like, we're just going to get it all in a carry-on because I don't want to risk the luggage getting lost.
Yeah.
Because that's real and has nothing to do with culture, right? It's just a lot of people moving and shit gets lost. So we managed to get 10 days worth of clothing for all three of us into one suitcase.
Damn. That's, wow.
My parents traveled a lot, so I definitely inherited that, which Europeans do because you can drive 8 hours and be in another country.
Yes.
Unlike here.
Yeah.
So my husband wanted to bring a knife to protect himself from all the travesties that were happening at the Amsterdam airport.
No, but you can't take that into our airport.
Well, so there was a conversation that had my German volume involved. Right. So that didn't go well. But needless to say, no knife was taken.
Well, that's smart.
And now he wants to leave America and will almost go anywhere.
Oh, wow.
So, he feels safer in other countries. He doesn't like how close Europe is to Russia. So there's that. But he's definitely become a little more worldly.
Good.
Has it helped him understand my building blocks?
Has it?
I don't know. We're sticking around. We're sticking together. I guess we'll find out when we die.
Yes.
I don't want to start over.
No. It's not fun.
No. So
well, good. I'm glad that that he's gotten to travel and
counseling with Stephanie.
That. Yeah. So tell me about, no, I'm kidding. Actually, I'm not. What else? Oh, what experience most shaped the person you are today?
Ooh, today. Ooh, I can tie a little bit of this back into Reham to get a full circle here.
Okay.
So I was 4 years in the Air Force, which kind of matched up with my German a little bit, the military sort of regimented aspect. And so I think my Air Force time was my American regimented life.
Okay.
And it fit kind of well with the German upbringing, which really isn't that hard. It's not as harsh as people tend to get. It's just specific, right? That clarity, right? I'm asking for clarity because I want to know, not because I'm judging the clarity. The German way of getting at that is kind of different. In the military, that clarity is also there. You have orders, it's specific. So I thought it would work really well. Unfortunately, I still disagreed with it. So 4 years in the Air Force was enough.
Okay.
But it did give me, it was kind of my college, where people are formed by their college years. I was formed by my military years. I didn't really have my dad there anymore, but who was, very stern. But I still had the government, which was stern.
Yeah.
Although I've been back to a couple of things and they've really loosened up a lot.
Really? Why couldn't you be like that when I was in?
Right? I mean, girls can have hair that touches their collar now.
Oh, you couldn't?
You couldn't.
Like you had to cut it short or wear a ponytail?
No, it just had to be up.
Oh, okay.
Right, and off your collar. And there were things about, they called them chunky chickens, right? So you couldn't be overweight. They made you run to lose weight, which really is stupid because that's not always what loses the weight, right?
No, it's not.
Right? But all of that stuff is gone, like for the right reasons, right?
Yeah.
Maybe, hopefully. But there's not good things in its place. They do a lot more for the servicemen now when you end your career. to get out and to get into the real world. So that transition to getting out into the real world, I was completely on my own.
Wow.
And I thought my military years were going to mean more, and it didn't. And so that's really shaped me a little bit. I had some college, but when I got done with all of my required classes and I went to apply for graduation, they're like, no, you need 40 more credits.
Oh, geez.
For what? They're like, you can take anything. You can take pottery, you can take drawing, you can take sewing. And I'm like, so nothing that I was approaching it in a German way, that it was be more vocational, a military way that was more vocational, right? I mean, I get the whole well-rounded thing. You know, you got to know a little bit of English, right? Some history, some literature. You know, you want to be interesting, right? You don't want to be the same color of Play-Doh.
Right.
But so that transition in the military and getting out was, I think, really impacted me. It impacted my thought on higher education.
Mm-hmm.
It impacted my thought on hiring. It impacted my thoughts on how the civilian world didn't seem to value what you learn in the military, which includes management. I mean, I was a sergeant, you know?
Wow.
And so that, of course, maybe that reinforced my Germanness, right? Who knows? But something that was really interesting that formed my view on the world and war and how pointless it is and how scary it is. So I don't know if you remember, Reham mentioned that all the half-breeds were cordoned off and brought together.
Yeah.
Like some sort of, as she was telling the story, I thought of the Chinese who were gathered here.
Yep.
You know, love Chinden.
Yeah, exactly.
So I thought of that, but they seem to have made it more comfortable for them and less prisoner-like and more, we're just going to keep you separate-like. And on my side, I was on an air base. So my air base provided most of the airlift for Desert Storm.
Oh.
So we had all the services that had an airplane on our tarmac.
Okay. Uh-huh.
We had Army. It was great. Someone I went to high school with was landing on our tarmac and wasn't supposed to get off, but his commander let him off so I could give him a hug.
Oh.
And the helmets were so hard. Oh my God. I mostly remember getting clunked in the head. But it was both nice and scary.
Yeah.
You know, so we had every inch of that tarmac, which is an air base is mostly tarmac. We had every service, every inch. Those planes were super close to each other. And that hum went all the time.
Oh.
You had that hum all the time because it's an air base, but now it was as if the hum was turned up to 11.
Oh, wow.
You know, Spinal Tap 11, right? And you heard it all the time for weeks.
Wow.
And one day you woke up, turned off. It was quiet. You could hear a pin drop.
Wow.
Every plane was gone. Every foot soldier was gone. The where you go to have breakfast, I forget the name, it's been a minute, was just the Air Force people that were there. Most of the hospital people, because the Air Force provided a lot of the medical support. Every team has their specialty. So they provided a lot of the medical support. So a lot of my friends were gone.
Wow.
It was very creepy.
Yeah.
And you wonder how many of them are coming back.
Yeah. Do you have, and pardon me if this is like a really dumb question, but do you have like reunions? You know, your high school has reunions.
No, I wish they did. I would love to know. But see, you have so many people that come and go. Right? You have...
That's true.
Right? I lived in a dorm where the individuals in the dorm, they were part of an installation team. They would go install comm centers or go set up an air traffic control tower. So they would have what's called TDY, where temporary duty. Right?
Okay.
You're temporarily in New Mexico building up an air traffic control tower, and then you come back to your home base. So you kind of got used to people leaving. But yeah, that miss, I'd like to see if companies could do that. There's people, friends.
That's true, yeah.
How many work friends have you lost track of?
A lot.
Right? I mean, you worked in corporate America.
Yep.
That's just part of the culture.
It is. Well, and I was thinking too, so speaking of that, it was HP that I worked at, and they're closing this Boise site.
Oh.
Yeah. And I learned that earlier this year when everybody else learned it.
Yeah.
And my first thought was, if the woman who was there while I worked there, her name is Jody, and she's an amazing woman. If Jody was still at HP, she'd already be organizing this whole like reunion for everybody to come and have a party
Beer
at
Busters.
HP. Oh yeah.
I remember.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Oh, I've worked for so many people in this valley, right? And they, you come in California, the only way you can get up in the work world is to change companies.
Yes.
Because this whole promoting from within, at least in Silicon Valley, is, it's a nice bumper sticker.
Yes.
So when I got here and tried to get a job, I've worked for HP, I worked for Micron, I worked for defunct DBSI.
Oh, wow.
Which used to be that big building, right? So I've worked for all the big hitters. They all questioned, look, you've changed jobs, and I'm like, well, that's how it works in the big city.
And that's the thing. Okay, so while I was at HP, they started this thing where they were like, every 2 years, we want you employees to find a new job in HP. They were promoting that. Yeah.
Yeah, which is nice.
And so many people were like, what? 2 years and I have to change jobs?
It takes you almost a year to really figure out your job.
Yes.
And make the right relationships.
Yeah. Yeah.
Relationships. Corporate.
Oh, those are fun.
We called them corporate relationships.
Corporate relationships. I would agree with that. I like that term. I'll have to start using that one.
Feel free.
So what?
Oh, I worked for Albertsons.
Oh, like headquarters?
Yeah. Have you ever been inside?
I have not, but I do love running past that building.
Inside. They have the best courtyard of all the corporations I worked for. And I've been on the Google campus.
I have no, I don't think I have. So some of the work I did with HP, I got to go to different campuses. I don't think I made it to Google.
Oh, they had some parties, man.
Really?
But all pre-COVID. All
yes, yeah.
The world is, it's really changed.
Oh, it absolutely has.
So many jobs I've had that could have worked from home and would have avoided all the drama that was unnecessary to get shit done.
All the relationships.
But no, relationships.
Yeah. Actually, so you've worked in a lot of different places, and currently you are a teacher, substitute teacher.
I'm a substitute teacher, nearly full time.
That's amazing. Tell me about that. Teachers are so important, and people do not. Nope, let me take that back. I don't want to generalize, but it's hard for people to recognize how hard teachers work.
Right. It is. Gosh, this is a bit of a can of worms. Yes, people don't realize how hard teachers work, because just like the individual who puts their barking dog in the backyard and closes the glass door, now all of a sudden they don't hear their barking dog, even though they can hear it. They don't really hear it. But of course, all the neighbors do. And depending on what your dog, so does your neighbor's neighbors.
Yes. Yeah.
Right? Not all dogs bark the same.
No. When Frodo barks, I'll let him out to go potty. And then as soon as he's done pottying, he'll come back to the door and bark. And I'm like, dude, I know you're out there because I put you out there and it has been 1 minute. We do not need to bark. Mommy knows.
Oh, do your cats panic too?
When he barks?
No. Do your cats are your cats out? Do your cats go outside?
My big guy Osiris used to, and then he ran away one day and found another cat, and they sprayed each other. So when I finally found him, he stunk. It was like a kitty cat locker room is what I called it.
God, if you ever do a panel of people with cats or animals in that passageway, I would love to be part of that.
Okay.
Because I have hours worth of stories.
Oh, same. But yes, so because of that, Osiris does not get to go outside anymore. I need to clean up my yard. And if he does go outside, I will go with him because he keeps begging to go out, and he'll run outside sometimes if I'm not paying attention.
Yeah. My cats have always been both. But yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so school district.
School district, yes. So first off, I became a substitute teacher, again, post-COVID, because the world has changed. And substitute teaching is one of the few industries, actually, that values someone who's been in the military.
Oh,
The
okay.
district I work for, which we
don't need to say it.
used to require substitute teachers to have a bachelor's degree, which is insane because for a lot of reasons. But COVID happened. They had a lot of teachers. They lost a lot of teachers, and they lost a lot of their substitute pool. They didn't want to come into the schools and get potentially exposed. And a lot of those teachers were aged. Teachers had already retired, and they kind of didn't need to.
Okay.
It's sort of switching back a little bit now that we're a little more removed. But either way, I got in that post-COVID world. They are still short substitute teachers on some occasions, and there's a reason for that, which I also think is kind of BS. But so, as you know, a lot of people don't appreciate teachers because of the whole summers off thing, right? They think, oh, you work and you get off, your workday is done at 3 and you get summers off. That's so not what it is. And as much as it is about teaching, the hardest barrier to get through to teach math, to teach English, is those teachers have to work with every parent's child. And as we talked about, we're a production of our parents, right? So they're working with the kid who grows up in Mexico inside their house. They're working with the kid whose parents don't get along at all. They're working with the privileged kid who comes and gets to have the roller case and all the clothes and come to school with that. And as many kids as there are, they all are different.
Yes.
And a teacher has to try and shove consistent, boring English into those very different holes of places for knowledge to rest. That's the part that people don't see. That's the part people don't get. So every parent should substitute in their kid's grade 1 day a year as their kid grows up, and maybe substitute in the classroom next door to your kid. Right? I mean, there's just such a personnel issue with managing people. The whole herding cats completely applies to school.
Wow.
I have this weird saying. So let's say you get a bad haircut. And there's nothing,
have had those.
And there's nothing you can do about it. You know, a little something about Mary that you can't change. And you have to go to school, right? You have to go. Okay, so if your destination is an elementary school, teacher, what's wrong with your hair? Teacher, what's wrong with your hair? From every single kid. You'll go to junior high. Did you see that teacher's hair? They don't say anything to you. Did you see that teacher's hair? Then you go to high school, same bad haircut. Can I go to the bathroom? They don't care.
Oh.
They don't care about you.
They don't care.
Right? Now, this is the sub, right, who goes in with the bad haircut. The teachers, you know, they'll totally converse. They'll have students who love them, students who hate them, teachers who are worthy of love, teachers who are worthy of hate, because they are also the same different personalities that are with all the kids.
They are human too.
I tell students, you don't like that teacher. That teacher's going to, you know what you're going to get from that teacher? You're going to learn to deal with someone you don't like.
Yeah.
Because that's life. Right? They don't like it when I point that out. And they still cut that class. And that's why you're failing that class. And now you have to do biology again this summer. Just because you don't like the teacher. Maybe the teacher is worthy of not being liked, the one I'm thinking of in particular. However, biology, it's a very serious subject.
It is.
You know, and if your kids are constantly going to the bathroom, which apparently always takes 15 minutes.
What?
No quickness there.
No.
So, but yeah. So now enter the substitute into this environment where you have all these different personalities. I don't typically substitute elementary school.
Okay.
Because you have to always be on. You have to really watch your language. My aforementioned years in the military make that difficult.
Okay. I can imagine.
Yeah. And of course, there's the incessant questions, and they don't listen. But there's this great thing to get little kids to behave. Since you do some stuff, catch a bubble.
Catch a bubble. Tell me more, because I'm about to teach a little kid's class on filmmaking.
So catch a bubble means you catch it in your mouth and you hold it in your mouth, because now you can't talk.
Oh.
catch a bubble. If they don't understand it yet, you can explain it to them. So it's cute, it's adorable, and of course they want to have the biggest bubble they can.
Okay.
But of course they can't talk.
Oh.
They're little. They haven't figured this out yet. They still think
Okay.
it's a bubble catching contest.
That's smart because I used to do like the silent game, who can stay silent the longest.
Right,
But
they figure that one out.
They
Yeah.
do. Yeah.
And I think these tricks only work for 4th grade and lower.
Okay.
Because 4th grade and higher, 4th graders are mean, by the way.
Are they?
They're coming into their own, right? And that can be a painful process, and sometimes that ekes out. You know. Now, junior high kids, they just don't want to listen. They'd rather ignore you. High school kids want to tell you all about their drama.
Oh.
I had the most interesting conversation. I had a young student who hated a particular class that they liked to go in.
Okay.
Right? And they're like, can I come? And somehow they were very nice. Actually, can I tell the full story?
Yes,
it's really
please.
a cute little story.
Please.
Okay, so it is my first time subbing at this particular school, which I love. Not just because it's super close to my house. But it's a high school I love, and my first choice was to substitute band.
Oh, fun.
Right?
Yes.
Totally fun. And one of the classes is music appreciation.
Oh, yeah.
But of course, the reason I got to sub was because the teacher was leaving with most of the students to go to a musical performance.
Oh, okay.
Right? So that's where I went. It's exactly my response, right? For a substitute teacher. When I was in school, if you had 4 kids left over, they would just go into another classroom.
Yeah.
Okay, so now they have a substitute come in for that.
Okay.
I'm sure there's some rationale that I don't fully understand, but I get paid for that lack of rationale, so here I am.
Okay.
So in this particular class, I meet this young man. He's now since graduated, and he's in a psychedelic band, which of course thrills me to no end.
Absolutely.
But
yes.
The teacher gives them next to nothing to do, and I come in thinking, I want to talk music appreciation.
Yeah.
And so they're like, well, you know, we don't really have anything to do. Okay, do you want to talk about music? Like, let's talk about current music. Let's just kibbitch about music.
Yeah.
Right? And so we ended up talking about music. He pulled up his music, shared his music. His artwork was done by another high school student who turned out to be a super cool individual. Oh my God, her style was off the hook. I was like, I want to go back and be you.
Wow.
But so I got a chance to know him, right? And then by being in yet another different classroom, he came in and it was like a friend. Walking in, he was such a good human, always wearing something tie-dye, something around his head, just all the things that I love, right? So it was very easy for me to talk with him, and we talked music. So
that's awesome.
He was super happy. But through that process, I met another young lady, and she says, look at you two talking like your family. And then I talked to her, and she has also now since graduated, and I've stayed in touch with her. She's going to be my cat sitter.
Oh, so great.
Yes. So these two relationships, I've gone out and seen this young man. I got to know her, and therefore she was in choir. So I got to know all the theater and choir kids a little better.
Yeah.
Because I had an in with one student.
Yeah.
And that made my life wonderful.
Well, and I'm sure it impacted their lives.
I can only hope so. But so the young girl, her significant other, is trans.
Okay.
Her mother doesn't know this yet because they're very well transitioned, even though they're not surgically transitioned.
Okay.
They even have some what I call Y chromosome behaviors. And I was like, oh yeah, they're transitioned. Look at that behavior they're doing right there. Right. So, but so this young girl I've gotten to know, and one day in school, because she felt so comfortable, she said to me one day, she goes, I have never met anyone your age who is this open and able to converse. Because she ended up, I got to know her teacher. It was a study hall class. And they said, okay, as long as you let me know she's with you. So we were able to establish something. So now she didn't cut her class, which meant she would have left campus and then might not have come back.
Yeah.
So I'm like, yes, you can cop a squat on the floor, whether I have a class or not. Kappa squat on the floor, keeps your happy ass in class.
Yep.
Guarantees you go to your next class.
Yep.
I kind of broke the rule a little bit by allowing this to happen as far as a rule book is concerned. But I do see other teachers do this sort of thing. And it was kind of lovely. I felt I was giving her a safe place to confide certain things.
Yes.
One day, she's sitting in her normal spot, happened to be working on English, right? Because I did make her do homework. I'm like, what do you got missing?
Yeah.
You can't just use me as an excuse.
Yeah.
Right? Even though it was a cute little excuse. So one day, it's between classes, I think lunch, we must have had a long period, or I had an open class. And another young lady comes in, and for whatever reason, I happen to already be aware that she is the L of the LGBTQ.
Okay.
Right? So we're all sitting around talking. They feel very comfortable. And I always listen first with one ear. Are you safe?
Yes.
Right? Are you safe? If I hear that you're safe, now you can keep talking.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And since that was satisfied 99% of the time, you're safe. Go ahead. Tell me what you want to tell me.
Yeah.
Right? So she started talking to me, and my other little friend pipes up and goes, wait. She, meaning me, she's not a lesbian. She has a husband and a child. I know she looks and sounds like our kind, but she's not. And while at first I thought, you little judgy thing, you're judging my boho look and thinking it's lesbian. But what I learned in that was that how comfortable they were. And all you have to do is treat these young adults like the young adults they are.
Yes.
Give them I don't mean a platform, but just give them the space.
Yes.
Regardless of what their orientation is. So I really have a soft spot for the kids.
Well, absolutely, because they're eventually going to grow up and be our age.
I love it when I see them in the wild, meaning as I'm either their customer or they're at Tree Fort and whatnot. It's just lovely. They come over and they're like, hi.
Oh, that's
awesome. And I'm just like, thank you. I have one girlfriend who's a teacher. She doesn't like to be seen in public by students she doesn't know.
Okay.
Perhaps she has reason, but it just goes to show you how different we are. She doesn't like seeing them. I love seeing them in the wild. It means I have to be a better tipper on occasion. But it's just lovely to see a Taco Bell. She leans over. She's like, hey, Queen, remember me? And I'm like, oh, she was like, I graduated 2 years ago. And she remembered me.
You are making a difference. You absolutely
This is fabulous.
Yes.
I hated high school. I was bullied so badly. I mean, I got bully stories as well, but I feel like I got to do my high school over again.
Yes.
As an adult.
I love that.
And I got to be nice to everyone.
Yeah.
Yay.
I'm sorry to hear that you were bullied.
Oh, yeah. Do you want to hear I tell this to the kids.
Well,
I
yes,
share. Do you want to hear my bully story?
I do.
I'm such a all over the place talker. So sorry for the extra edit.
Oh no, this is a fantastic conversation.
Okay, so I was a freshman in high school. I happened to go to a school where it was a 4-year high school.
Okay.
Not something they typically do here in Idaho.
Yeah, in Washington, we were 3 years.
Okay, so at this time, I don't know, California may have changed, but I was in Silicon Valley, California, and I was a sophomore in high school. I had done my freshman year at a high school that was considered the wrong side of the tracks.
Okay.
Where girls, if they didn't there was one story where a girl had gotten slashed by another girl underneath the bathroom stalls by a butterfly knife. Yeah, so my parents took me out of that school.
Oh, God.
Yes. There was some parental bad behavior at a big meeting as well. My dad not understanding the American way. And I was so happy when they took me out of the school. So now I'm going to this new school and there's a bus.
Okay.
Right. So it's my freshman, sophomore year in school. It happened to be the same year that Challenger exploded.
Okay.
I was so interested in the takeoff recently, but we digress.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this young lady lived probably 8 to 10 houses down the street from me. And she was more mature. She was dating a policeman. Her parents were hardly home.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so right, there's an O there.
Yeah.
And I was a little sheltered. I was still wearing, she makes the Holly Hobby looking dresses. Not Jessica McClintock, Gunny Sack.
Oh, okay.
I'm sure we're old enough to both remember Gunny Sack dresses. If not, look it up. It's like a thing.
Oh, I remember.
It was a thing, right? I wore Gunny Sack dresses. Totally vibes into the bohemian look I have. I try and sport today, but you know, thank you, Gunny Sack. Anyways, so I was one of those girls, a little younger, you know, then she was definitely more mature than I was based on her living situation. Probably something she would have, in hindsight, maybe not liked to have been. Now that I'm older, I can look at it differently.
Yes.
That being said, young sophomore me, we happened to have been, luckily enough, we live very close to San Francisco. And we happened, probably a Seattle thing too. You don't go into the city without a jacket.
Oh, yeah, no.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So we were in San Francisco. There was a unique warm temperature, but little girl forgot her jacket.
Uh-oh.
So we happened to be so fortunate to be near Chinatown. And we go in and we find this cute jacket. It's brown. It's pleated. It's got this little Asian collar, which I still seek out today. Absolutely cute as heck, right? Little brown wooden buttons. Totally went with my Gunny Sack clothing.
Yes.
I'm getting on the bus. And she decides had been picking on me. It's something that sort of followed me from 6th grade forward.
But it was just you two who went up to the city together?
No. I had been with my parents. This is where I got the jacket. So the jacket is just the focal point.
Oh, okay.
Right? So I'm wearing this jacket now to school.
Oh, gotcha. Okay,
Being a little more immature, her being very mature. She, of course, maybe not of course, but so I'm walking to my seat, which is a little further back on the bus because, you know, we're middle of the bus, right? Cool in the back, cool up front.
Yeah.
You know, sandwich in the middle.
Yep, I took the bus in school. Yeah.
Busing days. So I'm walking to my seat and, you know, she'd been picking on me for a while I don't know. I'm sure I could come up with the reasons why, but she decides she doesn't like my jacket. And so she decides to say something about it. Oh. Right? Look at you and your fucked up jacket or something of that ilk, right? And I, of course, being you know, I'm still a mouthy girl and I'm German, so I'm going to say what I think and not always think about it first, right? So I go, fuck you, I like this jacket.
Good for you.
Stood up for myself,
Fuck
right?
Yeah, you did.
Yes. The kids love that I love the F word in school. So I'm sitting on the bus. She manages, because she's more mature. She knows more people on the bus. She manages, and our bus is, key point, our bus is the last stop on the bus.
Oh, okay. You're stopped.
We're stopped last. One or two people get off the stop before that, but just, you know, bloopy little people, right?
Yeah.
Most everyone is staying on the bus.
Okay.
I'm sitting in my seat just dreading what's coming, because you can feel it when you've been bullied for a while.
Oh, yeah.
You can feel it.
I was bullied too. Yep.
So we are getting off the bus. Lo and behold, unlike an airplane, I get off fairly easily. And I, of course, have a desire to get off the bus.
Yeah.
But what unbeknownst to me at first is that now everybody else gets off the bus. I'm so glad cell phones and social media didn't exist then, because I'm sure someone would have recorded this, right?
Oh.
So it turns out that she has the whole bus in a serpentine behind her, following her. And now, because I told her to F off, right? She thinks it's her job to kick me in the back going all the way home. And I am just trying to ignore it and walk 10 houses home.
So,
She is kicking me in the back. My mom had my childhood friend. Long story, didn't end up being a friend, but childhood friend
like that.
Yeah, that we all. I mean, it's part of life too.
It is,
right?
Yep.
It's a learning. So she manages to run home and says, "Hey, you know, Colleen, you're you need to go get Angela.
Yeah.
Right. But by the time my mom gets in the car, we're like 3 houses away from my house, but that's still 3 house lengths.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And she pops the door up and she goes, get in the car. Right. You know, and of course I get in the car.
Oh, yeah.
You know, when your mother yells at you, get in the car, you get in the car, no matter how old you are.
Yeah.
At least my son doesn't get that yet, but everyone else does. So I get in the car and I'm grateful. Now I'm crying my ass off. But of course, she kicked me. I mean, like kicked me in the back probably 50 times walking home. And the audience.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, I know lots of people have small audiences. I felt I got kind of a large audience to that.
Well, it doesn't matter how many kids watched or not. It's the fact that they all were watching and nobody fucking stood up for you.
Right? And in today, gosh, how many of those kids would have had video cameras?
I know.
I was subbing at a local school once in a science class because I sort of focused on science class. I thought maybe I'd teach myself, but they don't give subs anything to really to do because you're just kind of considered a warm body because they don't know what they're getting. On their side, they don't know what they're getting. On my side, I'm like, give me something meaty.
Yeah. Well, I was going to ask, like, when you said that you substituted the band class, do you know, like, did you play instruments? I know you love music, but
You know, as a child, I played violin as a kid. So it
I
doesn't.
did too.
Oh, yay.
Yeah.
Yeah, staccato is about the only thing I can remember. But I know this. The neck crick.
Very well. Yep. And how to hold it. And yes.
Right? My hand can be beautiful.
Yes. Oh, that really transitioned well into belly dancing.
Doesn't it?
Yes.
No, you know, when my girlfriend who talked me into being a sub said, look, you don't have to be a subject matter expert. You know, really, you just need to show up. So at first I was like, oh, I can show up. Right? I don't sleep much. I'm going through menopause. I'm not sleeping. Let's go. Right? So I did initially for that. And then I think now that I've gone through at least 3 years of it, I think I redid high school.
I love that.
You know, and this time so much better. I mean, sure, I did have a slight position of authority, you know, even though you don't always get to teach. I love when I get to know the teacher. Now that I've been doing it for 3 years, I sub for teachers that know me and they give me full lesson plans.
Oh, that's great.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
But sometimes they treat me like a warm body. And not to digress, but while it seems also a little bullying-like, I had the pleasure to, and I say pleasure, to substitute for a level in school called RISE.
Okay.
They are the nonverbal children.
Oh, okay.
Right? And they can be, did you know you can be in high school just until you turn 21?
I did not know that.
You can be in high school up until the day before your 21st birthday.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Interesting things. So I happened to be working in, I took a position to run the RISE class. The paraprofessionals that work in our schools, they are amazing individuals. They're highly unsupported. They don't get a lot of guidance, and they end up working with some of both wonderful and really needy kids.
Yeah.
Some of these kids really appreciate the work, and some of them definitely do not. But it's an aspect of public schools I was never exposed to before.
Yeah. And tell us really quickly, what is a paraprofessional?
So I don't know what para stands for, but they are a little bit like a personal mom, right?
Oh, okay.
So in one level, they at one level, they are helping the kids who have academic, you know, they just need a little extra. Maybe they're smart, but they're dyslexic.
Okay.
Or they've learned the language, but they need a little more time. They're ADHD and have a hard time focusing, so they need more quiet. This is the resource room. This is the one where I'm working in right now. Long term, we have total about 24 kids over the course of 6 periods. And they can come from other classes into our room to take tests. I've taken the same biology test 3 times this week. It's lovely. I learned stuff. It's great. In there, I have a paraprofessional that works with me. So I'm subbing for a woman who had a baby and fortunate enough to be able to take the rest of the year off. So woohoo, long-term assignment for me means a little bit more money. and working with a paraprofessional who's in that classroom all the time, so she knows all the kids, right? So it works really well. I happen 3 years at the same school. You get to know a few people. So I happen to know her from being a sub in classes as well. Wonderful, wonderful person. Cares a great deal about these kids. Has a little bit of ADHD herself, so she's really able to relate to them on a very personal level. That's the resource room. On either side of us, or rather, there's 2 levels below us. There's the one where the kids just academically, maybe there's some birth, maybe there's some genetics, maybe there's accidents in life, things that just break our brain. And so their brains they just can't, but they're still able-bodied, they're still good-hearted. So they focus on, they'll do recipes with them. They have jobs. Sometimes they'll go to the local climbing gym and they'll clean. They come around and they clean the classrooms. And while, think, oh, crappy cleaning job, but this means the world to them.
Yeah.
And they get to see other students. So there's a partial integration there. Then you have the RISE group. The RISE group is your non-speaking, non-verbal kids. They can speak a little, but, not full sentences, and maybe they're pushing a vacuum cleaner back and forth for half an hour because that's how they STEM and that makes them feel better.
Yeah.
It's a great class to actually work in because if the kid likes you, right away. And if they don't bother with you. They just turn around and do something that they like.
Okay.
None of the battle that you get in the other classes where they feel they need to let you know that they don't like you.
Yeah.
So RISE is wonderful. But the paraprofessionals in the RISE group, they're helping the kids go to the bathroom. They're helping the kids eat food. They're helping the kids learn fine motor skills. There's a PE class, right? So here's where it ties back to my bullying and a little bit of the outlook on subs. So one day I'm with this class and we walk around and then we go to another place and they either watch sports, other kids playing sports, or they get balls that they can play with. This one young man makes me throw the ball and then he likes at him and he likes to miss it on purpose. And we've done this several times, so I know it's on purpose. He likes to watch me chase the ball. Sweet young man. He's very nice to me though. So now we're starting this class and a PE teacher comes because, PE teacher's still involved. And so we're walking together before we make our way to the gym where activity is happening. And she's walking with another paraprofessional and she goes, well, it's just a sub. It's not like they're actually working. And in high school, they're working even less. And I'm kind of like, dude, I'm like 3 feet from you.
I'm right here.
Normally I wouldn't say anything. Or no, actually, normally I would say something, but normally I wouldn't wait to say something. So I talked to another friend to make sure I wasn't going off the rails.
Yes.
Because, I could go off the rails.
Smart.
And she goes, no, you should say something. So I kind of took the chicken shit way out and I sent her a text. But I sandwiched.
You said something.
I said something. And I said, hey, the other day while we were walking, and I know here's the nice part, the Oreo cookie method. Nice, bad news in between. Nice, right? I said, I know you probably didn't mean anything by it. But, I was right there and I heard you and I take my job very seriously. But it kind of hurt my feelings when you said I was just a warm body.
Yeah.
And I don't do anything.
Yeah.
I still have to manage these, rugrats to give them a nice name.
Yes. I'm glad you said something.
And she apologized. She goes, I'm so sorry. You're right. We value you greatly. Now she waited a while and probably gave me and I was like, I thought to myself, I'm like, I have you on my schedule in 10 days. I could cancel on you the day before.
Yeah, you can.
There is a variety of subs, just like there are a variety of people.
Yeah.
I met a sub yesterday, stereotypical large Marge kind of woman, right? Sitting at the desk like this, shut up, yelling at the kids, right? And I came in because I'm normally, the teacher I'm subbing is normally a co-teacher in that class.
Okay.
So, but doesn't always go when there's a sub because they don't leave a lot of meat for a sub to do because you never know what you're going to get.
Yeah.
Right? So, I mean, it's kind of understandable. I don't know. Right? Don't treat them like a warm body. Have some expectations.
They're people and they're there to do a job. And no, I agree with you. Okay.
Yeah.
I have two questions. I already asked if I can interview your mom.
Yeah.
And I want to. I really want to get to know her.
She comes out to Boise frequently. So
okay, good.
I'll let you know her next trip if you're for real interested.
Yeah, absolutely, I am.
She'd get a kick out of this.
Oh, I would love to talk to her. I would love to.
But you would have to come up with all the questions.
I can do that.
I can help you.
Okay, good. Well, I have a whole list of questions, and then usually, like any episode so far, I've gotten through like 2 of mine.
Oh.
And then I like to ask people the questions that they would like to be asked. Such as, is it ADHD or are you German?
That's a Reham question. That's so funny.
So, are you?
I don't know. I've never been tested, but I'm definitely German. But, it came from Reham and I. We were, just talking and she goes, oh, there's a thing, right? Are you ADHD or German? I'm like, no.
Yeah, I've never heard of that.
Right? But apparently, so the Middle Eastern culture and the German culture, they love each other.
Oh,
they're both a little guttural in their speech pattern, but they love each other's food and whatnot. And I don't know, maybe their ancient trials and tribulations are similar.
Yeah.
But my mom was 16 and went to Tripoli.
Oh,
back in 1950 something. So
wow, okay.
And that's a story
for
her.
I want to know that story from her. All right. So my final question is, when everything external falls away, like our titles and our labels, who are you at your core?
Oh. Without using labels?
When like the labels are taken off the table.
I'm an insecure girl that wants to make people laugh and give her a hug.
I like that.
Yeah, if I boil it down. Aren't we all? You're going to make me cry, but aren't we all?
We are. Yes. We just we want to have friends and be loved.
We do.
And be felt and touched. And yeah, my yoga teacher, she says we were given skin for a reason. It's to be felt and
biggest
it's to
organ.
Be touched. Yeah.
Our largest friend that we ignore.
Exactly. And yeah, we all deserve to be loved and have people in our lives that love us and share love. And I think, I have bullying experience as well. And I think it's those of us who did not experience love as kids, like the type of love that we were supposed to. That makes us these incredibly loving people as adults. And that's how we're able to, for example, the way that you show up for these students and they come in and they see you and they know that you see them, that is fucking beautiful.
Oh, it makes my day when there's a glimmer of that.
Yeah. And you're sharing that with them. Don't ever doubt that you're doing something beautiful in this world.
I hope so.
You are.
Certainly not doing it for the money.
Yeah. But you're doing something. You're changing lives.
So are you.
Well, thank you.
Bikes in Cambodia.
I know.
People telling their stories. So many of us just really want someone to listen to us.
Yeah.
So look at you.
I know. And I love listening. I love storytelling. I love getting to know people. Like, again, outside of those labels. Yes, you're a substitute teacher, but who are you?
Right. I give a shit.
You do give a shit. And I love it.
Sometimes to a fault, but yeah.
It's okay. It's all right. That's what makes you beautiful.
You're so sweet.
So are you.
Thank you.
All right. That's it. We did it.
Yay. I didn't implode.
You didn't. Is there anything else you wanted to say before we close out?
Oh, I could talk for hours. So,
okay, then we're going to stop. No.
Right? You have a dead spot. Give me a call.
This has been absolutely lovely. Thank you.
Thank you, Stephanie. It's been a joy.